Hello everyone. Thank you for joining me, and I promised that I would tell a story about the time I accidentally worked for the Greek mafia, and I'd like to tie this, somehow into a lesson, if anything, about beware of the company that you keep. So let me see. I was 18 years old and working at a drugstore, and this one had a snack bar. So I was working behind the counter at the snack bar all by myself. So I was the boss of me, and I was still looking for something more, something better. Wanted to be in an office type thing. And I happened upon this business that was hiring, and to my surprise, 18-year-old me, fresh out of high school, was going to be hired as a bookkeeper. And this was in the mid-70s, and $1,000 a month was phenomenal for someone with no post-high school education and just a lot of dreams. And so I wasn't sure what I was going to be doing. I thought something along the lines of, paperwork, filing, mainly phones, filing, things like that. And the thing that I was supposed to do among the telephones and the filing paperwork, and I was sort of like the fetch, go fetch this, go fetch that. But I also was tasked with helping to tie up loose ends on the paperwork, that had been pointed out that something was amiss. And if I would be so kind as to, fill out the missing information. And it even went to so far as having me go ahead and just mock up some paperwork based on the information they gave me, so that they would have a complete set of records, because certainly the missing paperwork is in there somewhere, because there were actually two businesses side by side, and they were dependent on each other. And the office that I worked in had the office manager and the sales staff and me. And I was the only one that was allowed to go to the other business to collect the financial instruments, contracts, things like that, or information cards. And sometimes there was just incomplete information. So my job while I was in the other office was to complete the paperwork, just until the real paperwork showed up, so that the people in the other office would have something to work off of. So I didn't see anything wrong with that. I didn't. I mean, I was only 18. I just thought, okay, yeah, I'll complete paperwork, finish it up. I understand that. So that was pretty much my first week. And I began to really sink into this, tidy up the files. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to look through those files, because I know that if anybody can find it, I can find it. I'm very detail oriented. And I slowly started going, and these were like, an office wall full of cardboard boxes. And this is before computers and everything like that. This was paperwork. There wasn't even a photocopy machine. Everything had to be done with the carbon papers and duplicates and things like that. So here I am, working after box and alphabetizing and looking for duplicates and looking for a list. By then, I'm getting a long list of missing paperwork that I had helped complete the paperwork on. And, I got about halfway through and I began to think, wow, I'm not finding anything. And so, okay, there's a weekend goes by and I'm beginning to think, how can they always be missing so much paperwork? And so the first few days of the following week, I realized that in addition to doing this filing and mocking up paperwork, it was also my job to submit a daily report to a financial institution. Yeah, so it was a daily thing. And so I began to worry, this financial institution just only has, most of the correct paperwork. Some of the paperwork they have is my mock-up paperwork. And I thought, there's just something wrong with that. And so after Wednesday, I went home and I had a long think about it. And I thought, I'm not sure how this stuff goes, but if there's any trouble, this is all on me, and I have no proof. I have absolutely no proof because the information cards that I had to give back. I had to return to its source at the other office so that their records would not be amiss as well. So I had nothing except the paperwork I mocked up. So I called in sick the next day on a Thursday. And I called in sick the next day on a Friday. And also, I called the financial institution, and I confessed that I have no idea what I was doing, but I think I did something wrong, and that I have no proof that anyone asked me to do it. It's all on me, and I'm not going back. And they told me that they couldn't use me anymore. And I'm sure I was replaced the following week by an equally dense, over-optimistic person. And that was business as usual for them. And I don't know exactly what kind of, fraud it was, but I realized that there was something wrong with it when I was the one duped into mocking up important paperwork that ended up being financial documents. And it took me 2 weeks to put that together, and I'm embarrassed by that. And let that just be a word of warning to anyone. And by the way, all the people, the high up level people that were involved with this was the same ethnic Greek ethnicity, and they flew in and out. They had the heavy accents. There was hotel bills, plane bills, receipts, restaurant receipts that I was also filing and compiling and stuff and putting away. And I really don't know what became of all of that. All I know is that for the first few years afterwards, I was like looking over my shoulder over here, but I was nothing to them. Absolutely nothing. But the nice lady at the financial institution, after hearing my full story, she got another manager on the phone, and he listened to my story. I think he was writing down what I was saying, because I mean, my voice was shaking. I was only 18, and I just said, I'm scared. I'm really scared. I mean, I'll do whatever I have to do. If you really need me, I'll be there, but I'm scared for my life. And he said, don't worry about it. I'll take care of it. And I never heard from them again. I never heard from the businesses ever again. I never heard from any of them, but for several years I was really afraid. And I realized I meant nothing to them. I was just one, doofus, and they just replaced me with another doofus. And so that's my story. And I never got involved with organized crime ever again. And I must say, as a person of Sicilian descent, I am sure that some of my relatives over in Palermo were spinning, in their graves. So, anyways, happy ever after. Anyways, bloom where you were planted. Bye for now.